Welcome to Sports CTO Talks. In this series, we would be connecting with technology leaders from the sports and technology world. I am Ami, your guide on this journey through amazing mind of tech leaders who are shaping the future of sports. We will dive deep into discussions and innovations driving the industry, from AI to cloud, from cybersecurity to sustainability. If it is sports tech, we are talking about it. On today's episode, we are joined by Daryl Heberman, a collaborative chief strategy officer with over 26 years of experience at the intersection of media, sports, and technology. We welcome you, Daryl, to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ami.
Absolutely. So Daryl has built a career around driving growth from scaling early stage SaaS and PaaS companies to integrating AI and machine learning into product strategy. His work has consistently delivered revenue growth, market expansion, and operational excellence. He's held leadership roles across some of the most influential organizations in the industry, including NHL, BAM, and Disney Streaming, and has also brought a founder's mindset to building an advertising business. Today, Daryl is the co founder of D2E, that is Direct to Engagement, a joint venture focused on accelerating direct to consumers business. Through D2E, he and his team partner with growth stage companies as fractional CSOs, CMOs, and CEOs, offering tailored strategies across sports, media, hospitality, technology, and consumer brands. And on today's podcast, he would be talking about how AI unifies brands, demand generations, sales, and partnerships into a scalable go to market initiative. Once again, we welcome you, Daryl.
Thanks again. That's a mouthful, but it's a good summary of the work that I've done and the things that we'll talk about today. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. So, my first question to you is, you have spent 16 years at NHL watching digital media go from novelty to core revenue channels. So, at what specific moment did you realize that content and marketing weren't support functions anymore and they were the revenue engines?
Well, it's a great question. Really, the the biggest driver of that was working collaboratively within our sales and marketing teams, getting to know who they were talking to, what sort of the questions or the conversations were like in their everyday work, and then coming together for more like weekly pitch or scrum meetings and understanding what's growing and being part of the NHL.com digital experience. It wasn't just a website. Obviously, there was an app and blogs and podcasts and video started becoming very much a robust offer. So when we, kind of came together and understood that this was more than just a story or a brand idea, it was going to have touch points into lots of different platforms. There was going to be a strategy around push notifications and getting people onboarded into this sort of social experience. So that's really when I really thought, and we all collectively understood that the website, the NHL.com, had such an organism approach where there's lots of growth activities and extensions throughout. So it's more like NHL.com was the product. We weren't just a cost center. We were actually adding tremendous value in a lot of different, nooks and crannies with different audiences, allowing more of a tailored approach around, partnership and the campaigns that we were running.
Okay. So like when you're talking about the scrum meetings and weekly meetings where you taught sales, staff best practices, modeled them with the clients, and ultimately, like, there is a data that you have closed several 750K deals, dollar deals from that process. So most companies keep marketing and sales in a completely separate room. So is it possible for you to walk us through the model, what you worked on, and why it was unlocked, and what was the revenue strategy, from start to end, if you could walk us through that?
Yeah, well, so a lot of businesses, and they don't always operate intentionally to get into that siloed mindset, but when they sit in separate offices and different floors, there's not really more of a opportunity to understand sort of the rhythm, the flows. What we wanted to do is understand how to be a more integrated solution, where if a partner is coming with an idea, what will we be able to, execute without changing course and really trying to chase down the answers. We wanted to be very solutions oriented early on and understand the data piece, understand sort of the foundational elements and what was easy to deliver, get out to the marketplace quicker, to have more of a conversation around it. So like defining success together um, ahead of the time before like now you're chasing answers, you're trying to accommodate to every women desire of a partner who maybe pretty bullish in these are my expectations, these are the KPIs of the campaign. But you really have to kind of nurture and develop and have that conversation across multiple parties, especially when everyone's accountable for driving success. It's not just like on the execution piece, there's the whole, strategic build out of a campaign and what are the key pillars that need to be integrated within. So, essentially, that's how we were able to close deals more consistently, be effective, and get the renewals, and then find those incremental dollars because of the way that we worked. It was very fluid and seamless to deliver.
Okay. So, like, as it was seamless, like you have delivered 54% engagement growth and 27 subscribers growth year on year. So, like, how much of that was driven by data intelligence, and what specific signals, you were tracking, or the team might be for the most marketing teams, and what do they ignore, and how would AI tools these days help in the whole marketing activity?
Well, again, everything is seemingly touching content or a digital platform is tracked these days. It was, going back to my NHL days, which was, I left NHL HQ in 2016, and I left working ostensively with the league in 2021. You mentioned this earlier. I was working with Major League Baseball Advanced Media, BAM Tech, Disney as strategic partners of the NHL. So everyone had different tools and data dashboards, analytics that they were following real time, historical, month to month, year over year, and it was all about subscriber growth and retention. And yeah, everyone's looking at how different campaigns are being engaged with. At the end of the day, um, the biggest predictor or success layer was tied to what can you determine a fan wants and needs because of some of the things that they're interacting with, or there could be a video that goes, bananas and drives so much virality of traffic and gets you to um, a great place. But if you can't understand how or why that happened, it's going to impact the ability to do that consistently or try and scale from that moment. So it's all about, tailoring to personalized approaches, the things that are fit for different audience segments, doing things throughout the course of an off season or when there are no games being played. So you have to kind of have a little bit of, creativity, but at the end of the day, it was merely not merely, but the holistic approach is what can you predict and determine by leveraging some of the data pieces, and not thinking about the things that are tracked, but the things that you can actually forecast and really wrap your hands around. And that's really where I think we, as the NHL in the segment that I was overseeing and had insights into, were able to benefit the most is really taking that deeper level strategy that and take being more intelligent with sort of our business and what we're accountable for.
Okay. So when you're talking about data, collecting data to find numbers, keys to foundational business decisions, it's a very it's a phase and it's going to continue. So in today's AI saturated world, like where everyone claims that data is priority, it has to be data driven. So what's the real difference between vanity metrics and foundational business metrics? And like if you could give us some examples from your journey, even if it is applicable today, so it would help a lot of the audience to understand better.
So kind of touched on this a little bit, with the last answer, is there's moments that you feel good about, or vanity metrics that are nice, the ones to kind of showcase. But at the end of the day, you want to know that there is metrics, foundational metrics that help change the organization, change people's minds. Instead of chasing page views, you're thinking about um, subscribers as a whole, where communities live and breathe, and what they engage in, short term versus long term, and also short form versus long form. You have your podcasts, you have your your listicles, your analytical pieces. You have a lot of little interesting segments that just want interviews and personality driven content. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that will do a deep dive with you. So there's shoulder programs and extensions of one piece of content that really are important to determine sort of what the value of one fan and how that impacts your movement into another category, or talking and working with a different brand. The I guess the best way to summarize that is there is a huge difference in strategy if you're looking to just say we just want to get people clicking around and touching everything that we're throwing out there, or because of all these clicks, we're actually able to determine a pattern, and now we can introduce something more rewarding and fulfilling into this experience. And that's key. So, it's not just, creating slideshows that are going to create clicks and having people, just being deeply engaged in one thing. It's creating more of that layered approach.
So when companies say that they want to align their brand, their demand generation, and the sales, so are they actually solving a problem correctly, and they want to align everything with AI these days because it is the thing today? So, like, how to fix it, or what has to be fixed organically or across the organization before introducing AI into sales, marketing, lead generations, and everything?
So, you, sorry, just if you could just, I didn't get what the question was. I know you were
Sure.
kind of setting it up, but I was trying to understand the question.
Sure, sure. So, like, when companies say that they want to align their brands, like the demand generations, the sales, the marketing, so are they
Hmm.
actually solving a problem by
Uh,
aligning AI?
oh, well, I got you. I understand. So AI AI exists in so many different ways for each department, and I think the without understanding how things are aligned, and this is what I was speaking to a little earlier, you can get misaligned. And so through misalignment and different usage of AI tools, there's a lot of fragmentation that exists. So because of that, it's very important to have that unified success piece, that revenue generation discussion, understand where people can operate seamlessly in a cross-functional way, and that's kind of where I would always have a role, or be that stakeholder, is the one that's going to help determine ease of use and how things could get incorporated, and what's the best way to tell the story, what's the brand, the KPIs, the different signals that we have answered, or we're looking to answer quickly, to kind of go back and be part of that feedback, that loop, have that discussion where everyone's not frustrated, or things are sort of misaligned and misconstrued during the course of a campaign, or even a pitch, a presentation back to the client. We'd love to understand that that the what we all are accountable for and can share in, and at the end of the day, using AI as that force multiplier. So it's not, hey, we're going to use X, Y, and Z platform and ABC platform. We're actually going to use maybe one or two, and have this integrated and speaking our language, and understand everyone knows the whole shebang. We're in that sandbox together.
Okay, so like when you're talking about productivity, like you have increased productivity 45% when you were with Disney streaming. So, like, you're not buying new technology, but by redesigning the processes, reorganizing workflows, retraining the staff members, and making key hires. So, what's your actual operating framework and what is aligned with that? And where does intelligent tooling slot in versus where human judgment is irreplaceable today?
So yeah, my framework is really about, clarity, capability, and consistency. So um how are people responsible, and how is success measured? There's workflows, there's frameworks, there's redundancies. A lot of people waste time, um, on on sort of bureaucratic stuff than actual work. So what are we capable of doing with the right tools and processes in place? How do we add automation to kind of cut through, some of the that wasted time? And at the end of the day, what's repeatable? Where can we incorporate or improve a template, meet in with a regular cadence, operate with purpose, and have just high quality creativity that's going to, be able to have people, motivated, operating cleanly, being able to share in some wins. So AI is big in helping create repetitive pattern-based work, uh, that now humans themselves, aren't getting consumed and wasting energy. They're actually now able to focus on strategy, of focus on relationships. Again, there's uh, a lot less redundancies and wasted time. I think that's where it all kind of fits, and why my framework is pretty simple. That way is like, let's be clear, let's show our true capabilities, and let's be consistent about, delivering. Make sure that we're creative, we're agile, and we don't have to worry too much about sort of the politics of this, and get in the weeds on like red tape and administrative tasks.
So, like you have worked with both, enterprise solution, enterprise clients, and startups. So, what is a GTM playbook according to you, with immense experience from working from NHL, from Disney streaming, having your own organization? Like what is the GTM?
Um, my go to market, and a big determination on any sort of venture activity is, you know what's the data, what's sort of that foundation, and identify, what's missing, where can you leverage, maybe limited resources, and identify where there's partners that can help you expand and scale and grow, and ha bring in, some added value, amplify your message, or deliver a core, capability that's just, not there, for the product, for the team that's going out to, a marketplace, whether it's an existing marketplace, or something, very, very niche oriented. So I think, when it comes down to my my approach and my go to market, it's again, there's lots of research, there's lots of thought around who fits in this puzzle, where is there, an AI solution, because like I said, when you're working with limited resources, it's not only partnerships that are going to be, potential boon for you. It's what are AI tools that exist that you could integrate cleanly, and there's it's more done through like an API. There's not too much that has to be re-engineered or thought through. So everything's sort of, clean and allows you to kind of scale up a little bit and be a little bit more comprehensive as the partnerships come into place, as you get more insights, more feedback, it's able to kind of expand from there. So, a go to market with that data piece as the foundation is hugely key, and that allows you to better understand the products and tools that you're going to utilize and where partnerships make the most sense.
So, like when you're talking about partnerships, most companies, struggle to keep single partnerships healthy. So, what's the structural difference between how you approached partnerships versus how most GTM teams treat them, like just as a checkbox or you need to do it? Like, what is the difference? What do you see?
Yeah, no, I do. I treat partnerships as like more of that core growth channel.
Correct.
It's not a side project. You have to um, think about sponsorships with that sort of executive mindset, is like, where can we share objectives and key results, and talk about, KPIs and all these other things that everyone's really focused about, is like, you really want to have that integration, that's smart, that's um, that people don't just say, all right, here's a partner we just signed. I'm going to give my junior associate the keys and make sure that they're liaising with this partner. No, it needs to be really thoughtful on like, how do we amplify and use each other, do marketing campaigns, think about sales enablement, think about what sort of our milestones are from a week to week or month to month or quarter to quarter standpoint. Um, don't just do a check-in, how's it going, but actually show like what's working, what you've done, where you can go. And again, then that it's an extension of your team and an extension of your brand. You're actually more deeply connected, and you can fully leverage the true value of a partnership, and have them renew and be part of that longer term equation. So that's that's how I, you know, structure any partnership. But I do think that a lot of companies fall short with partnerships, largely because of like you mentioned, they treat these as like checkbox. Okay, we need a partner in this category, in this category, in this category, but it's never fully brought in and understood from organization, from the top chiefs on down, what this partnership is and really means, and how much it can support your own vitality and success.
Correct. So, like, as a CSO to early stage SaaS startups, like you walk into founder-led sales motions that are working, but can't scale many a times. So, at what specific stage does a startup actually need to formalize a GTM?
Uh, I would say very, very early in the beginnings of that. So if you're a founder thinking about spinning up an entity, finding other, co-founders or executives, advisors. You in that time are thinking about people that can match sort of the go to market, or at least breathe life and vision into that, to know that where can we operate nimbly, where can we, make sure that the outreach, the marketing is done in such a fashion. What can we do to expedite the getting the brands, the relationships, your prospective clients on board, the even lead generation is a road. We're actually doing this with that foundation. You have a go-to-market plan that's clear, that's consistent. And again, people know who's working in what capacity within this overarching plan. So I think it's key to kind of lay that out, or try and establish your go-to-market pretty early on. I'm not going to say it's the first thing that's considered, but when you're thinking about an idea, a concept, a new product, you got to think about how you're going to take that to the market and win people over, and show the that value proposition. And then you talk about the team that's engineering, that are sort of the brains behind it, and why this solution is going to deliver consistent wins for your brand, your team, your franchise.
Okay. So, like, there is a concept of omni-channel partnerships. There is a term, and that is not used, correctly many a times. So, when you say it, what does it specifically mean? And, like, can you walk us through any partnership structures which have drove measurable revenue across multiple channels at a single time?
Yeah, I mean, I think with partnerships and how I operate, and how I really do think about it in more than one category. So it's really taking, an omni-channel approach. What do you have that um touches brand and demand generation, sales, product across multiple channels simultaneously. I was talking about that earlier with some of the work that I was doing with the NHL. Is you're not just on one platform. There's different timelines. There's different ingredients that that people may measure. There's sort of the ability to do a little bit of trial around a new idea, a new kind of campaign, where that audience is, what's the proper segment, are we doing this with a little bit finesse, or we're kind of purposely doing something that's witty and fun. So really thinking about um, some of the projects in the past, and like big campaigns that I just helped breathe life into and overseeing. There was a campaign, I think, I forget the year it started, but it's still going on at the NHL. It was it was working with the family, hairstyling place, great clips. It's a lot of hockey players have like hockey hair, and like they call it, flow or salad. It's like you really sometimes wild, but the everyone talks about it. They're really fun. They have fun. The players have fun. So there was a whole campaign that, touched social, had a voting component, fans engaged. There was some different categories that we built, and there was a lot of different um, stakeholders at the league that got involved because also the NHL alumni had a piece there, and the Hockey Hall of Fame had a piece there, and then the Great Clips obviously as the brand, the league, our social media had some fun with it. So you start thinking about all these different places and pieces of a campaign, and ultimately everything at a touch point into NHL.com. Well, you're standing up a marketing page. You've got to incorporate a voting mechanism. You've got to uh, put out um, a push notification to have an approach around some messaging and letting people know about the sweepstakes and results. So there was a whole big, multifaceted campaign, and you want to make sure that this is something that stays fun. It doesn't feel like, advertorial. It's more, listen, this is a really fun integrated content piece and a package. What can we use in our kit and caboodle, and where can we better leverage our relationships and the partnerships and the fact that there's lots of different organizations that are on board and part of this campaign, which now is now in like I think, year 12 or 15 or even going up to 20 years. There's lots of things like that that have happened and are like institutional, but you want to make sure that it stays fun and different. And, with back to like, partnerships and operating omni-channel is understanding what each partner and platform is doing and how it could be all, weave or woven together.
Correct. One last question, Daryl, into this segment is like, what is the prediction you have, like for AI, how AI will reshape the GTM strategy in sports, media, or tech over the next 3 years?
Um, I think it's a lot of what I'm doing right now, is, focusing more on strategy and relationships. There's there's a lot of distinct functions within, marketing and sales that ultimately can be unified into like one intelligent like revenue team. I think there's AI that will and has started to come into fruition on uh, content creation, campaign management, looking at qualifying leads, doing different sequencing, making sure that things are tight and consistent and repeatable, and that will free up, humans to focus entirely on, getting more uh, tactical on their strategy and doing outreach of their own, be building and managing relationships with, other operators, other vendors, going into venues, going to parties, events, conferences, everything like that. I think that's an important piece of partnerships and sort of the human existence is what can you be, heads down in that's going to help, drive and scale your operation. So I think we're going to start seeing more, AI powered partnership marketplaces that match brands with opportunities and their audience, and you can do sort of real-time content generation that adapts to certain moments and understands the sentiment of your audience. There's lots of things like that that I think will be reshaped in the coming years, and has already started happening.
Okay. We'll move on to the next segment of the podcast. That's the rapid fire round. I'll ask you a
Okay.
few questions and you'll have to be quick in answering. It's either one word or one sentence, cannot be more.
Okay.
Okay. NHL or MLB, whose digital fan experience is winning right now?
NHL.
Okay. I knew you were going to answer that. Brand or demand generation? If you had to cut one budget, which survives?
Brand.
Okay. Biggest GTM lie companies tell themselves?
We're a product-led growth company.
Okay. Partnership or paid media? Where does the smaller dollar go in 2025?
Partnerships.
Overrated marketing trend right now? One word or phrase? No explanation needed.
Influencers.
First thing you fix when a GTM team is broken, people, process, or technology?
Oh, that's tough. Process.
One thing AI will never replace in a GTM strategy.
Trust.
Absolutely. Now we'll move on to the next segment. You'll have to just answer one question into 30 seconds. Ready?
Okay.
Okay.
I think so.
How AI unifies brands, demand generation, sales, and partnerships into scalable GTMs?
Um, just by creating a common language, doing the mapping, the downstream conversions, thinking about any funnel activity, again, predicting outcomes, what's going to uh, be a topic that needs a little bit more attention, how they could prioritize and find partners that will help them grow and scale. I guess my 30 seconds are up. I don't know if I did a great job on that one, but
You did, Darren.
okay.
Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast and giving your time today.
It's my pleasure.
So, everyone, let's stay connected and please share this episode with all the people who love sports and technology. We will meet in the next episode next week. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring.